Hey guys, welcome to the Storybook Panda channel. We left off last time with Yunnan Hongli witnessing the meeting between a strange group of folks named the Seven Heroes of the South, a Buddhist monk, and a Taoist priest. If you need a quick refresher, check out the previous videos. Otherwise, let's see what happens next. So without further ado, here we go! Yunnan Hongli was in awe of the Taoist. He would guess that it would normally take a few men to move a large censer like the one that the Taoist had in his hand. But on top of that, there was a fragrance of rice wine emanating from the censer. It must have been considerably heavier than an empty one. The monk was the first to speak. "Thank you for accepting my invitation to come join us. But why have you brought the bronze incense burner from my temple?" The Taoist replied, "I went to the temple first. They told me you had invited me to the garden of the 8 Drunken Immortals to drink. I assumed we wouldn't be alone, so I brought some wine." The monk responded, "Let me introduce you to the 7 heroes of the South." "I have long heard about the great deeds of the 7 heroes of the South," said the Taoist priest. "It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance." The monk turned to the group of 7 and said, "This is Cheng Chunji of Chunzangao." He then turned to the Taoist priest and said, "Ngo Zanok," known as the Flying Bat, referring to the big brother and leader of the group. He then continued to introduce them one by one. The second brother was known as Quick Hands Ju Chong. The third brother was known as Horse Master Rider Han. The fourth brother was known as Woodcutter Nan. The fifth brother was known as the Laughing Buddha Cheng. The sixth brother was known as the Masked Haggler Chun, and the seventh sister was known as the Sword Maiden Jade Han. The Taoist bowed while still holding the censer in his hand. The big brother began to speak. "We are a martial family known as the 7 Freaks of the South, and we long admired the 7 disciples of Chunzangao. We have been friends with the honorable monk Scorched Wood for many years now, and know he's a warm-hearted soul. May we ask, what has he done to offend you?" "I do not know the monk," replied the Taoist. "If he surrenders the woman, I will return to his temple and offer my sincerest apologies." "Which women?" questioned the big brother. "2 of my dear friends were betrayed by the Song government and died at the hands of the Jin," explained the Taoist. "Each left behind a pregnant widow with no friends or family. Tell me, Master All, how can I ignore this?" The big brother responded with a sense of outrage, moved by the story. "Of course not. We did not know your friends, but feel compelled to act against such injustice. It is our duty as members of the Molam." Yunnan Hongli was startled by the story. Could he be talking about the wives of Ironheart and Sky Fury, he wondered? "Well said," responded the Taoist. "The 7 heroes of the South indeed live by the Molam's code of honor. I demand that the monk release the women from his temple at once." "That's nonsense," rebutted the monk. "How could you make such an accusation?" "How dare you lie to me," said the Taoist, obviously outraged by the monk's response. He flung the censer with one hand at the monk. The monk dove out of the way. Fifth brother, the Laughing Buddha, lunged in front and held out his arms while calling upon his internal strength. He was able to stop the censer full of rice wine. He then attempted to lift the censer above his head with both arms, but although he was able to do so, the floor beneath him gave out and his foot broke the floorboard. He called upon his internal strength once again and launched it back at the Taoist. The Taoist caught the censer with one arm and held it above his head. "The 7 heroes of the South do indeed deserve their reputation," the Taoist said. "Now, back to the issue at hand. What do you plan to do with the woman? If you dare harm them in any way, I will destroy you and burn down your temple." "Our friend is a righteous monk," responded the big brother. "He is a well-respected member of the Molam, and if he says there are no women at his temple, then we must take his word to be true. Could it be perhaps Master Eternal Spring gathered his information from an unreliable source?" "I saw it with my own eyes," responded the Taoist. The 7 freaks were frozen by the statement. The big brother spoke. "Since Master Eternal Spring claims that there are women at the temple, and the honorable monk insists that there are not, why don't we all go to the temple to see for ourselves? I may be blind, but the rest of you can see. The truth will be revealed." The Taoist chuckled. "I have already searched the temple, and they cannot be found. It is up to the monk to reveal their whereabouts." The big brother spoke again. "Our friend is a devout Buddhist monk who has spent decades living a life free of bodily temptations. It is not possible for him to be hiding women within his temple, the Taoist responded. This is a matter that did not involve the 7 heroes to begin with. But as you have insisted to get involved in this issue, you must have confidence in your martial skills. As we are members of the Molam, I can only suggest we settle this in a contest of martial skill. If I lose, then you can decide how this issue should be settled. There was no hesitation on the part of the 7 heroes. The Big Brother responded on their behalf. If this is the way by which Master Eternal Spring would like to settle the matter, then please lay out the rules, and we would be more than happy to accept.
And that's it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Leave your questions or comments below and I'll be sure to address them in the near future. And I'll see you next time on Storybook Panda.